tonight for the Marlins.
That is the lineup that Roy Halladay will face. The last time Halladay won 7 consecutive decisions, his streak was stopped by these same Florida Marlins. Over his last 9 outings, Doc has gone 7-0 with an ERA just over 2, while reaching at least 7 innings in each of the last game. Tremendous numbers for Halladay this season. The scouting report on Halladay, if you watch him pitch night in and night out, he's got 3+ pitches. Hard cutter, hard sinker, and a great curveball. He can throw them at any time. Best start ever. Best start in his whole career. The way he is pitching right now, I don't think I've ever seen him throwing better. And you better get in there and start swinging. Just 12 base on balls and 100 innings for Halladay. So the Marlins better get in there and swing early and often.
A guy who's inherited the leadoff role, Chris Coughlin, steps in here. Kind of been a yo-yo back and forth from the minors this year, but has been very effective leading off. And Doc delivers pitch number 1 tonight. Down the pipe. Home plate umpire Mike Winters, Lance Barksdale, Randy Marsh, Dan Iasonia around the horn tonight.
Coughlin is a converted second baseman. He's never led off before. He's never played left field. Going to have to do a little something like that here tonight.
Well, that's what he's been doing lately. Down the line, he takes the turn. He will easily trot into second base. So the second pitch is deposited in no man's land in shallow left field. And Coughlin's at second base.
He'll take it off of Halladay. Here's how they'll line up defensively. Joe Inglet with just his second start of the season in left field. The inner defense, the defenders are in the middle. Just 12 errors from these 4 guys all season long, which is phenomenal. Ron Barajas in his familiar spot behind the plate. Pitching Roy Halladay again tonight for the 12th time.
Ross Glode, first base tonight for the Marlins, with Coughlin at second base. Lode coming off his first multi-home run game yesterday against the Cardinals. The Marlins losing to the Cardinals. Land Shark Stadium, what they call it down there. Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. They'll have a new stadium there in a couple of years.
Land Shark?
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to break ground next month on a new stadium on the same site where the old Orange Bowl was.
Retractable roof, air conditioned. Hard to play summer baseball in the state of Florida, at least in the daytime. A ball and a strike here to Ross Glode.
I played in that Florida State League about 3 years, and I'm telling you, always right around 5 o'clock, a nice little rain shower came over. So they're, I'm sure, really happy they're going to have a retractable roof down in Florida.
Ball and 2 strikes, fouled away. Halladay's actually been here. Left Texas early with Casey Jansen, who goes tomorrow. Of course, the Blue Jays had a 4-game set in Texas turn into 3. One of the games rained out to be made up later in September. Foul away again. And again, the Blue Jays coming home in the wee hours last night. You said it off the top of the show. What a benefit coming home. You know, you get not much sleep. You don't bat today. Get into interleague play, and albeit interleague play here where the designator hitter is in use, but at the same time knowing that you have Doc on the hill in game 1.
All it can do is just lift you up. Last night's game was a tough loss to the Texas Rangers, and you're right, you fly all night, you get in about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but it's nice when you come to the ballpark and you see Roy Halladay's name in the lineup there. You figure, hey, we only need 2 or 3 and we're going to win this ball game. He keeps you in games. He just the superlatives that we have talked about Halladay already go off the charts. One of the stats I was looking at today before this start here, since 2003, Doc is 52-19 with an ERA just over 3 when he pitches following a Blue Jays loss. You want to talk about a true stopper.
Count is now full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out here. Hanley Ramirez is on deck. Grounded down to Lyle Overbay. 1 play to make, unassisted at first base, and Coghlan down to third base and could score on a long fly ball now.
You can find all kind of numbers when Roy Halladay takes the mound. We were talking in the opening, who is the best that we have seen since 2002? Well, look at the rank where Halladay has 40 complete games, a tremendous record of 123 and 50, a great ERA. The one that I really like is the quality start. So he's going to go deep into a game and give you a chance to win every single time he takes the mound.
Here is the ever dangerous Hanley Ramirez. Moved down to third in the batting order this year.
Yeah, trying to get some production from Hanley Ramirez. He was a great leadoff batter, a lot of speed, a lot of extra base hits in that bat. Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Florida Marlins, wants Ramirez down in that lineup so when he comes up, there are guys on base so he can start driving them in instead of himself creating the runs.
Ramirez signed an extension to this low-budget Marlin team. Big extension. He's a big part of the future. Coghlan at third base now. Had the day off yesterday. Freddie Gonzalez opting to give Hanley Ramirez a day off. Swinging there.
Yesterday's game just 1-0. Blue Jays shut out again. So Cito Gaston not taking anything for granted here. First inning, not conceding a run. He brings the infield in, even with a very good hitter at the plate.
Works himself into a hitter's count here, but I don't know if that's such an advantage when you're up against Roy Halladay, because you never know what's coming next.
Well, when he's got his good stuff, you're going to see a lot of ground balls. They're looking for something right at an infielder.
Paints the outside corner, 3-2.
Or a strikeout. Take a strikeout also.
One away here in the first. Jorge Cantu's on deck. When he has his curveball on too, that ball dances up there.
That's the first thing you want to look for with Roy Halladay in the first inning. Does he have that good curveball? Because if he does, and you add that to that cutter and sinker that he has, that's when you start seeing the numbers that we have seen the last couple of starts for him. Big strikeout games, low pitch count games. You know what that leadoff double did is it really kind of set up the inning for the Marlins and put a little extra stress on Halladay. One of the best ratios in pitches per inning has Halladay this year, just about 14 pitches per inning. He is already at 17, so that leadoff double and the long at bat by Glode and now the long at bat here by Ramirez is taking its toll.
Golfed out Alex Rios. This will score Coghlan easily, and it's 1-0 Marlins. 2 away. The RBI sacrifice fly from Hanley Ramirez, his 29th RBI on the season.
That ball was hit better than the double. The double was a jam shot down the left field line. That ball was stung pretty hard by Ramirez. But right at Alex Rios out in right field. Got great plate coverage, good quick bat.
Now Jorge Cantu. Again, recently, Cantu's had some time off. Had some dizzy spells. Took himself out of the lineup. Told Freddie Gonzalez that was on some medication for high cholesterol and causing a little dizziness, and he was a little weakness and said, you know what, I'm going to hurt the ball club being out here. So he said it's going to take a couple of days before I get off this medication and get back up to speed.
He almost helped this team yesterday. He came off the bench as a pinch hitter and nearly hit a tying home run in the 9th inning. A game the Marlins eventually lost to the Cardinals.
Great numbers in June. 2-1. Scott Rowland. Scutaro, can he make the play? Yes! Oh! 5-6-3. How about that?
We told you the inner defense has been fantastic this year. If one guy doesn't get it done, Scott Rowland, well, just flick it over to Marco Scutaro for the 5-6-3 put out by Overbay. Marlins score in the top of the first. Let's head to the bottom. 1-0.
Thanks to the RBI sacrifice fly by Hanley Ramirez. Hitting lineup for Cito Gaston and the Blue Jays tonight. Take a look. Little juggling going on. Vernon Wells comes up from the cleanup position. Will bat third. Marco Scutaro leading off. Great numbers. Boy, what a revelation he's been in the leadoff spot. Aaron Hill second. Wells third. Adam Lind moves into the cleanup spot. Second time this season he'll bat cleanup. Scott Rowland fifth. And Alex Rios, for the first time in quite some time, will move down the order and bat sixth. Lyle Overbay, Rod Barajas, and Joe Inglet rounds out the order.
You know what I like about that is it breaks up those right-handers now with the lefties in there. Ricky Nolasco was a 15-game winner last year, but has struggled this year. Made 9 starts at the beginning of the season after going 2-5 with an ERA up over 9. He was sent down to AAA to iron out his problems. He was recalled 5 days ago. Had a nice start against San Francisco when they recalled him, going 7 innings and giving up just 2 earned runs. Overall, he has lost his last 3 starts.
Marco Scutaro has been the quintessential leadoff man this year. He has been the plate setter for the Toronto Blue Jays.
He has reached base more times than anybody in baseball. The true definition of a leadoff hitter.
Seven for his last 17. Carlos Enrique Nolasco. Ricky Nolasco. Scutaro with a good eye, evens the count. 305 this season, 5 home runs, 29 RBIs. Another good eye from Marco.
Wow, he found himself 0-2 and then some really close pitches. You know you're seeing the ball really well if you're going to be taking those borderline pitches. He has fought his way back to 3-2.
And just slaps one to right field. 117 times now this season by hit or walk. Marco Scutaro does the job again.
Good start for the Jays. Here's the scouting report for Nolasco. We talked about his breakout season, 15 career high wins in innings pitched with 212. His fastball tops out about 93 miles an hour. He's also got a cutter, a slurve, and a changeup that he will use. Hitters are starting to look a little comfortable against Nolasco. They are hitting .344 against him this year. But there's no question his stuff is very good. He just needs to command it a little bit better.
Aaron Hill, first pitch swinging. Hill's been on the roller coaster lately after such a torrid start. Of course, had his 0 for 25. Snap that, and now over the last 4 games, 5 for his last 15.
Yeah, numbers can be a little deceiving also. I thought he hit the ball really well in Texas. Just had a couple of hits to show for it. Stung a couple balls in the infield and a couple into the outfield.
First time that the Florida Marlins have been to Toronto since 2001 when they took 2 of 3. They last met in interleague play back in 2006, these two teams, and the Marlins swept the Blue Jays, including a win over Roy Halladay.
They've had their way with the Blue Jays in interleague play.
14-4 all time. Blue Jays have not had a good record. They would be the first to admit in interleague play. Particularly when they get to the National League parks.
We've watched that over the last few years, and it's kind of been a mystery. You would think that it would be a little bit even Steven, right?
Hill hits it hard. Back to get it is Cody Ross. And Marco Scutaro alertly scampers into second.
You know, another thing that a good leadoff hitter does is he runs the bases well. Marco Scutaro, from the time that ball was hit by Aaron Hill, read that Cody Ross was going to catch the ball with his momentum going back. And you can see he really doesn't have his legs underneath him to get enough of it on the ball to get Scutaro. He reads it, he goes right back. That is just heads-up baseball right there. Tagging up and getting yourself into scoring position on a fly ball to center field.
Now Vernon Wells. 61 times this season, Vernon has been the cleanup hitter. First time this year he moves up in the order to the number 3 spot. Adam Lind on deck, moves into the cleanup role for tonight and maybe for the next little while.
Well, they need some production right here. These are some spots that we've seen over the last couple of weeks that runners have been left on base. Blue Jays have to get Vernon going. 4 for 33, no home runs his last 125 at bats. Looked like he might be coming out of it that first game down in Texas when he had a couple of extra base hits. A ball to center field for a triple and another ball down the left field line for a double.
Ball and 2 strikes to Vernon. Didn't like that call. So Cedal Gaston juggles the lineup before the game tonight. Little press briefing. He said, you know, he's talked with Vernon and Alex recently about the possibility of this happening, with them struggling. And they were all right with it. And down he goes on strikes. Good pitch by Ricky Nolasco.
Strikeout number 1 for Nolasco. Here's the defense that will face and play behind Nolasco. This is a team that has committed 53 errors in 62 games this year. Coughlin, Ross, and Hermida in the outfield. Bonifacio, Hanley Ramirez on the left side, Ugla and Glode on the right side, and John Baker coming back after a couple of days off. He got bonked in the head by Albert Pujols in that series against the Cardinals this week, and first game back behind the dish in a couple of days.
Now the hot hitting Adam Lind. 6 for his last 16. .438 over his last dozen games. Look at the numbers. 12 home runs, 45 RBIs, and guess what? He deserves to be hitting where he's hitting right now.
Picking up runs, hitting well with runners in scoring position, his slugging percentage up over 500. And if you watch him, Texas Rangers were trying all kind of ways to get him out, but it just didn't work. They tried inside and he pulled a ball for a home run. They tried throwing him away and he hit the ball the other way for a couple of home runs. Even his outs were hit hard in that series.
Down the line, and a slice is foul. Blue Jays have got some pop lately, and a lot of production from their left-handed bats. Lind and Overbay.
They've been so right-handed dominant, haven't they, over the last few years? That they're trying to balance out that lineup, and I think this change does that a little bit. You break up those right-handers that we saw in a row, the Hill, Rios, Wells, you break that up, and now insert those lefties in there, making it tougher later in the game. David DeLucci is another left-hander that we might be seeing soon.
Picked up the other day down in Las Vegas right now, and probably sooner than later. A guy who really stung the Blue Jays a few times over the last few years in Cleveland and Texas. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. Scudero still at second.
Now you talk about the left-handers. They really have been locked in the month of June. 16 RBIs between them. That's about 30% of the runs that the Blue Jays have scored in the month of June. Knocked in by just 2 guys.
The 3-2. And down goes Adam Lind. So Nolasco leaves Marco Scudero at second base. It's 1-0 Florida after 1 in T-Dot. Fast Facts brought to you by Rogers, Canada's fastest high-speed internet, the fastest and most reliable, period. Roy Halladay, 17-8 career in interleague play, .680 win percentage, second best all time.
Do we know who number 1 is? I don't. Maybe we can get
another. That means we'll have to get another fast fact. Here's Jeremy Hermida. Boy, he's been riding hot lately. 1-0 Marlins. Up the middle. Scudero can't smother the ball, and it ends up in the glove of Vernon Wells, and a base hit for Hermida.
Didn't give up on it, did he? Even though that ball was on the first base side, of second base, he still thought he had a shot at it. The cutter is jamming some of these left-handed batters, but they're just placing it perfectly. Scutaro doesn't give up on it. I think even if he comes up with that ball, Hermita's got enough speed that he would have beaten it out. Good effort there by Marco.
Again, very small sample, obviously. National League team against Roy Halladay. Not many of these players have faced him, have only watched him on video games. This guy's got good numbers, but not this time. Dan Ugla was 3 for 3. But Joe Inglet has out number 1 here in the top half of the second. Now catcher John Baker. Hermita at first, Baker, then Cody Ross. You'll see the battle scar on Baker from, there it is there on his left eye, from Albert Pujols. Follow through on his swing the other day, up the middle, right to Halladay. Scutaro, double play. Just like that.
They've done that a few times this year, 61 times. Halladay with a quick inning.
There's the Canadian contingent. A little way off of Canada Day. I like the hats, though. Maybe visitors for the first time here in Toronto, getting ready for a nice weekend. Strains of Viva La Vida in the background, and Coldplay usually means Scott Rowland.
Okay.
That's his song. That. Bottom of the second, Alex Rios and Lyle Overbay. Blue Jays trailing 1-0 against Ricky Nolasco. Scott Rowland's turned it up lately, too. 7 for his last 14. It's been well documented of Scott Rowland's chronic shoulder problems that go back a few years after an injury. Lost a little pop, but his doubles numbers way up this year.
If you want to take away some of that power, the average has to go up, and that's what we've seen from Rowland over the last couple of years. Just 3 home runs, had 19 driven in, but his batting average up to 312.
This one is driven high and hard to center field. Ross is back to the track and has it. There's a guy out there, Cody Ross, who can cover a lot of ground. He has made a few highlight reels this year.
Yes, he
did not make a highlight reel yesterday, though. Committed an error in the late going and might have cost his team the game, but Rowland just missed that one.
Yeah, if he could have got the bat head through just a little bit quicker and pulled that ball, you can see how deep it is to center field, about 400 feet. But Ross hauls it in for the first out.
Now Alex Rios, for the first time in quite some time, down in the number 6 hole. Talk about documented struggles. Rios has had them this year. Now Ross has to come in a little bit. The struggles continue for Rios.
You know, if there's been a problem that Ricky Nolasco has had, it's been the long ball. Coming into this game in just 50 innings, he's given up 8 home runs. Scott Rowland just missed one. Aaron Hill stung a ball to center field. And now Alex Rios hit one to center field. We'll watch as the game progresses. Maybe the Blue Jays' timing gets a little bit more. Instead of hitting it at center field, they start pulling that ball.
Hot hitting Lyle Overbay, not so much last night. 0 for 4, snapped a season high 15-game hit streak, longest by any Blue Jay this year. He is in the zone. Another good pitch from Nolasco. Just pulling the string.
So close for Lyle for his career high. Good changeup right there. Lyle's career high in consecutive hits in games. 18. He just missed it by 3.
Strike 3. Ricky Nolasco. Even though he had a couple of bumps on the road this season, sent down to the minors, looks like he's corrected it at least early on here. 3 strikeouts. His Marlins lead 1-0 through 2. Down in the merchandise booth tomorrow, Sean West for the Marlins, the left-hander against Casey Jansen. 2-2, 1 o'clock Eastern. We have the game for you on TSN, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Second game of this series, interleague play, off and running now. Cody Ross leads off, 3rd inning for the Fish. Emilio Bonifacio's next, and then the top of the order again. 1-0 Marlins. 2 hits for Florida against Roy Halladay.
We did, you mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. We did a Marlins Blue Jays game already this year.
Yeah, we did. Remember that one?
It was the last game of spring training.
Yeah.
And we got a chance to watch the Marlins, and we looked over their roster and we say, boy, this is an interesting team here who might make some noise. Boy,
and they did.
Did they ever get off to a great start?
And then they've floundered.
11-1.
4-0 to begin the season. Great start. And again, with a limited payroll. A lot of budget constraints. But this is a team that is also not far removed from a world championship. also lost a lot of big names and a lot of big contracts through the years. So it's, I would think, very difficult to be a Florida Marlin fan over the last few years, knowing that you have to enjoy the highs and suffer with the lows. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Barajas with the signals.
Yeah, they did it not once but twice. They win a World Series, tear the thing down, and within 2 years they're good again. I mean, that really says something about their front office and their talent evaluators and their drafters and the way they produce players from that farm system. They win again in 2003 and tear it all apart, and still trying to find their way back now.
Bat goes flying, Overbay to Doc. I'll take a look. Last year, this was a team that won 84 games, was right in the middle of the wild card race. Then were spoilers. Remember what they did to the Mets? Look at the payroll last year. Their payroll was that less than what Alex Rodriguez made last season.
Hard to believe, isn't it? A lot of good young players. They've made some good trades over the years. And they've got some good young players they've drafted well. Some of the pitchers that we have seen from a distance, very impressive. We'll see a couple of them. Josh Johnson on Sunday, Sean West tomorrow. We missed Chris Volstad, former high draft pick.
Bonifacio to Aaron Hill. There's the speedster. We'll see a lot more of him in this series. Emilio Bonifacio, they went out and got him in the offseason. Now to the top of the order again. And Chris Coghlan, who started it off with kind of a lazy double into left field where nobody could get to it, just over the head of Scott Rowland, and you can see where Rowland is playing once again. He says, come on, I dare you, try that again.
You can say it was a total jam sandwich. Halladay made a great pitch right on the fist of Coghlan, and he just dumped it over Rowland, who was right in on the what would be the grass area on a regular baseball field.
This time goes to right field for a base hit, the third of the night. Chris Coghlan's making a name for himself. Not bad for a compensation round draft pick back in 2006. Just started playing the leadoff position the last couple of weeks, and somebody asked him, when was the last time you played, or you were in the leadoff spot in a hitting order? He said, well, back in high school, I think. Made the best of it.
Spraying the ball around. That's one of the things that they are missing right now is a leadoff hitter. Since they've moved Hanley Ramirez into the number 3 hole, Bonifacio was that guy at the beginning of the year, but he has struggled offensively. Looking for somebody to get on base for the middle of their lineup.
Lyle Overbay trying to knock that down. Hill hurries. He's safe. Ross Gloat is safe at first.
Well, the first inning ended when a corner infielder for the Blue Jays ricocheted a ball to the guy standing next to him. That was Rowland to Scutaro to Overbay, and it looked like we were going to have the same kind of thing here to end the third inning. Glowed a little bit quicker, a little bit closer to first base, hitting from the left-handed batter's box. Nothing you can do about that if you're the Blue Jays.
Two away here, but 2 on, and Hanley Ramirez goes ranking at the first pitch.
Overbay has been so good this year fielding at first base, and he almost comes up with a huge hit. But again, Glow a little bit closer to first base than Cantu was back in the first. Hustles all the way to get an infield single.
Lance Barksdale, the umpire, down the first base line. Marlins don't do the things they normally have done with Hanley Ramirez, and that signed him to a big extension, 6 years, $70 million, 25 years old. A guy who's got it all.
Yeah, the face of the franchise. You can't let this guy go. I mean, he's just got so much talent.
Tapped over the middle. Hill has to hurry, and safe at first again. Third or fourth time now the Marlins have chopped one over the middle. Hill had to hurry, but a no-go.
Lots of speed on this Marlin team. I think the only way they were going to get an out is if there was some communication between Scutaro and Hill and who was going to get that and try and get the force at second base. Both of them went after the ball, though. And by that time, when Hill caught the ball, you are not going to get Ramirez at first base. He's just too fast.
Again, Ramirez had the day off yesterday. He's been having some problems with a groin injury lately. No problem there. Bases are full. Jorge Cantu now. Exaggerated stance. Nine home runs on the year. 43 RBIs, the former Tampa Bay Ray. Ground ball, Scutaro, the only played his second base for out number 3. No harm done. But 3 hits from the Marlins. Still 1-0. Well, on your mobile phone, you can receive game scores. Text the word alerts to the short code 707070. Standard message rates apply. Tap in. Get all your Blue Jay alerts. Alert, alert, alert. The Blue Jays trail Florida 1-0. Heading to the bottom of the third and the bottom of the order. 8 and 9 hitters due up for the Blue Jays here. Then back to Marco Scutaro, who has the only base hit off of Ricky Nolasco tonight.
Before that 1-0 loss last night in Texas, the offense really seemed to be coming around again. They won 3 in a row. They outscored their opponents 19-3. Kevin Millwood was sensational.
Much has been made about the Blue Jays offense this year. So much better, more productive than last year. Still lead the majors, now have 613 hits. Their average leads the majors. Lead the majors in doubles. Sticks generally have done the job, even though some of them have been rather cold. Barajas drifts one to left field. And he's going to stay at first base, and a good play made by Coghlan out in left field. Otherwise, that was 2 for Rod Barajas.
An easy 2 for Barajas. He hit it right on the nose. But hustling all the way as a left fielder. Watch this ball, how he turns on it up in the zone, and it's got double written all over it. But Coghlan quickly, look at the speed out there. The former second baseman gets over there, backhands it, and he's got to hold Barajas to a long single. Jays have been shut out just twice this year. Both of them 1-0 games on the road.
Joe Inglet now. Lays one down and moves Barajas easily to second. Late call there by the umpire. The crowd thought Inglet was safe.
You know, a couple of things. The Marlins were not expecting Inglet to bunt there. So some communication problems on the infield here. This play almost worked out beautifully for the Jays. Some hesitation on the right side of the infield, and if Nolasco doesn't get to that ball and flip it over to Glow, that's an infield single.
Boy, Lance Barksdale's been a busy guy down there tonight.
Just the bottom of the third. That's about 4 times he's had bang plays over there.
Now Marco Scutaro with the only other Blue Jay hit here so far tonight. Native of Venezuela. Chance to cash Barajas here. Again, the story tonight, shuffling the order. Cito Gaston, has kind of maintained all season that he wouldn't want to alter his batting order too much and wouldn't want to shuffle Wells or Rios, but perhaps just reached a boiling point where he said, you know what, we've got to do something here.
Maybe take a guy out, move him down a little bit, take a little pressure off of him. Maybe he sees different types of pitches. Maybe he gets more fastballs in a certain situation.
And maybe the fact because Adam Lind was hitting the ball so well, it was also a promotion for Lind to come up a little bit to that cleanup role.
I bet you that was part of the thinking.
Velasco's been ahead of a lot of the Blue Jay hitters tonight. Breaking pitch breaks away for ball 1.
We talked about Velasco and how good he was last year. Career high in innings pitched with 212, 15 wins. That's after getting in just 5 games the year before because of injuries.
Scutaro's been a tough out all season. Look at all the trades and how players are acquired through free agency, draft picks, or trade. Think about the trade that brought Marco Scutaro here at the time and how it has worked out for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Can you name the guy that they gave up to get Scutaro? Hardly a blimp on the wire, right?
It was back in November 2007. A couple of right-handed pitchers. Fouled away again. Graham Godfrey and Christian Bell. And at the time, some people might have thought, hey, Marco Scutaro's coming here as a spare part. Maybe,
right.
Again, some critics might have thought maybe, the sun's setting on his career. He played so well in Oakland. He was a dynamite shortstop in Oakland at the time.
Isn't it funny how labels work in baseball?
Yeah.
You get labeled a certain thing. You're an infielder. You're a utility type player. You're not an everyday player. Well, Marco has kind of taken the opportunity that he got, and he has run with it. And he has proven that he is an everyday player.
Like what he did last year. He played almost every position for the Toronto Blue Jays and now has settled in as their everyday shortstop and their everyday leadoff man. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Trying to get him to bite at that 78-mile-an-hour curveball.
This is a lot like his first at bat. Found himself behind 0-2, battled, ran the count back to 3-2, and stayed on a fastball away from him and punched it in the right field for a hit. Trying
to wear Nolasco down now. Great eye at the plate.
Yeah, look for the heater again. You might as well. I don't think Nolasco wants to walk him. Not with the way Aaron Hill is swinging the bat.
Runs the count to full. And got him. Fourth strikeout so far here tonight for Ricky Nolasco. As good as the Blue Jays, and Scudero has been tonight, taking a lot of long looks and a long at bat here. Nolasco has been a touch better.
Yeah, he certainly did challenge him with a fastball. This one right there, about 93 miles an hour, about where that fastball will top out. Fouled right into the glove of catcher John Baker.
Here's Aaron Hill. His first at bat, a long fly ball out to center field. Barajas a good lead at second.
They had a pickoff play on at second base, and I think Ricky Nolasco missed it. There's a daylight play in baseball that if one of the middle infielders thinks they have a shot at getting that runner at second base, they'll just flash the open glove or the open hand, and if the pitcher sees that, it's just spin and throw to the base. Dan Uggla, the second baseman, had crept right in behind Barajas while that pitch was being made.
Fouled near the first row. Load over, but souvenir over there. Still alive here is Aaron Hill. Ball and 2 strikes to him. What an infield this Florida Marlin team had last year in terms of power. They might have made a few errors, but they could mash.
Did they have 4 guys hit more than 30? Jorge Cantu was playing third base. I know he had 30, didn't he?
4 guys for the first time hit over 25. 3 guys hit over 30.
29. Cantu was close.
Mike Jacobs, of course, is no longer with the team. Ramirez hit 33. Uggla hit 32. Cantu 29. First time ever. Infield with 4 players, 25+ home runs.
Kind of reminded me of those early Oakland A teams. Early 2000s with Giambi and Chavez and Tejada.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch. He won't bite at that. Well, you mentioned that. Second team with 3 infielders to reach 30. You remember the guys in Oakland who hit those 30 bombs.
Tejada, shortstop with 30 home runs.
Yeah.
What a bonus, huh?
Well, they might have been a little enhanced. Eric Chavez and Jason Giambi as well. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. 2 away. Down the line and out number 3. And the Blue Jays come up with nothing again. Barajas is stranded at second base. 1-0 after 3. Doc back at work in a moment. All-Stars and there are everyday All-Stars. Of course, the All-Star game coming up in St. Louis, and Roy Halladay probably a good bet to start that All-Star game. Well, there are everyday All-Stars, community All-Stars, and there are 3 representatives from each city have a chance to go to that All-Star game. Jane Andres, Melanie Burton, and Richard Gosling, the finalists for Toronto, and they've done great work in their community, everyday heroes. Get a chance to get to the All-Star game. You can vote at peopleallstars.com for your everyday All-Star. 1-0. Florida, top of the 4th. Jeremy Hermida leads off here for the Marlins. Dan Ugla, then John Baker. Hermida led off in the 2nd inning with a base hit. Halladay's given up 5 hits tonight. Kind of hinted that Roy Halladay could be the starting All-Star for the American League, and I would say with the numbers, if they continue like this, you know, go back to the Cy Young award-winning season back in 2003. Arguably Roy Halladay's best. At this point in the season, after this many starts, he was 7-2.
And his ERA was up over 4.
Yeah. Now, of course, he had a great finish to that game. Now, what's happened here? Halladay and Barajas. George Poulis is coming out. Roy Halladay, did he land wrong? Did something happen here? Just when we're talking about it, wouldn't this be the worst thing that would happen to the Toronto Blue Jays if something happened to their dock?
Well, he hasn't given any indication, touched a spot, a leg or an arm or anything like that. They're kind of looking down at his hips area.
Let's take a look at this last pitch. They're leaving the mound now, and did he come out of his delivery awkwardly, or he looked to the dugout right away?
Right into the dugout.
Barajas knows Roy Halladay so well, and he immediately went out there, and now they're actually letting Halladay have a warm-up pitch, and based on what you just saw from his face, it's like he's grimacing a little bit here, and that might be it for Roy Halladay. What do you think?
You know, from what we have seen, for me, it looks like it's something in the lower body, in the hip area, the groin area, maybe when he pushed off the mound a little bit. He might have tweaked his groin a little bit. They haven't looked at his arm, which is a good sign. It doesn't look like he's going to continue. See Cito talking to the home plate umpire, Mike Winters.
That's it for Roy Halladay here tonight. Talk about the unexpected. After this blazing start, we'll try to get an update as Roy Halladay will go to the locker room. Blue Jays will warm up in the bullpen. We'll be back.
I think it's
a concern from the manager. He's been down this road before with a variety of pitchers, but through the ups and downs of this 2009 season, there has only been one constant. It's been Roy Halladay there every night. And now he's no longer with the team for the rest of this night. There's the first two pitches. That was number one here. Top half of the fourth inning against Jeremy Hermida. And here's the second. See if we can see anything maybe in the lower body. The groin, a hip flexor perhaps. Certainly didn't look like it was the arm.
Yeah, that's my guess. Just watching it, it looked like he reached back for just a little bit something more when he pushed off. You know, that's all speculation right now, but it looks like when he pushed off, something tweaked, and he looked right into the dugout right away.
Cito Gaston talked before the game about how well he knows Roy Halladay. Cito immediately came out there and said that's enough. I'm sure Halladay said the same. He's back in the locker room. We'll try to get an update on his condition. So Scott Richmond, who actually was supposed to start a few days ago, was pushed back now. He becomes the long man here tonight. Unforeseen circumstances, but that's baseball. You have to be prepared for this stuff.
And that's being a number 5 starter for a team. You get bumped here and there. You get pushed to the bullpen. You become the long man. If there's an injury, boy, you got to come in here. Now, Scott Richmond will get as much time as he needs to get loose and to get ready. He is now back on that mound, and it looks like he is starting to hump it up there a little bit harder. Usually pitchers take about 15 to 20 minutes to get themselves ready.
Get as long as he wants here, and then Hermida will continue his at bat. 2 strikes against him, but Blue Jays, as many of the Toronto baseball followers know, their pitching staff is certainly last year was off the charts. This year, unforeseen injury as well, and you know, starting the season without some big names like Sean Markham and Dustin McGowan, and now Jesse Litch going on the shelf for over a year now with Tommy John surgery. And you can see Brian Butterfield and Brad Arnsberg and Cito Gaston.
You don't want to be whining, but this is getting ridiculous. The injuries that have happened to this starting pitching staff this year. You know, you were just talking about the one constant was Roy Halladay. And the guy who was an Iron Man, the man. Brad Arnsberg, you could see him when he came back. He could tell that he was visibly really upset with his number 1 going down.
This was Jesse Litch.
Said it was kind of bothering him. You could tell, you can see him kind of holding his arm next to his side, kind of grimacing a little bit. And then he says, you know what, I can't take this. So he's out. And he's probably out till after the All-Star break. Minimum. Next year.
Tommy John surgery, ligament.
Today.
Yeah, replacement surgery. So we wish Jesse Litch well. Roy Halladay will get an update on this. And now Scott Richmond thrown into the fire here tonight. And comes in, 1 pitch to Hermida, strikes him out.
Pressure's off. You just come in, just start throwing strikes. There's no time to think about what you need to do. Just get out there and just pound that strike zone. Good slider right under the bat of Hermida.
Roy Halladay, of course, will be credited with that strikeout. Richmond finishing it off. Dan Ugla. Flied out to left field. First pitch swinging last time on Halladay. Hit it hard. Halladay leaving the game after giving up 5 hits. Credited with that 1 strikeout. Marlins got to him in the first inning with a lazy little double by Chris Coghlan to left field, and Hanley Ramirez scored him on a fly ball. And that sacrifice fly made it 1-0. That's where we're at. .2-0 pitch. Dan Ugla packs a pop to that second baseman body. In fact, he is fastest Second bagger to 100 homers in Major League history. Took him 502 games.
Not bad for a Rule 5 guy.
3-1 pitch. Got under that. England has it for out number 2.
Well, his shortest outing of the season. Pitching into the 4th inning, Halladay. He gets credited, like you said, with that strikeout. That snaps a streak for him of throwing at least 7 innings. I believe 13 straight games to open the season of at least 7 innings for Halladay. And we were watching Brad Arnsberg come back. I guess he was down in the clubhouse when Roy came in there. When he came down to the bench, you could tell he was visibly upset.
Again, easy to speculate what it might be and try to get word shortly. Catcher John Baker. Certainly if it was an arm injury, in which it did not look like. Threw right after that and warmed up. Would not think that would happen, but
right.
Crazier things, I suppose, have happened. Blue Jays just hoping for good news on their dock right now. From the docks. This would not be the first time a injury has hit Halladay in the middle of a season or just after a third through.
Yeah, we were talking about before the game. Have you seen Roy any better? He won the Cy Young we talked about in 2003, and then when he got hurt in Texas, I thought he was throwing at that time better than he did the few years earlier when he did win the Cy Young. And now he's even better so far this year.
Count is full now with 2 away. And he walks him. Brings up the center fielder, Cody Ross. Grounded out to Lyle Overbay back in the 3rd inning. Marlins beginning the night 29-33, 8 games out in the National League East. 4th place overall. The Blue Jays beginning the night 34-28, 3 games in arrears of the Boston Red Sox, who've turned it on lately. Richmond finds the plate. Scott Richmond thrown into it tonight, the Canadian right-hander.
Probably thrown right back into the starting rotation now. If they have to miss any time with Roy Halladay. Boston back on top of the Yankees now.
Have they ever been the Yankees' daddy?
Boy, they've had their number. Tampa Bay is a team, I think, that in the second half might get on some kind of roll. They've played the toughest part of their schedule so far. They've got very good pitching. I think once they iron that out and get on a roll, you're still going to hear from them, I think, this year.
Count is even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away. So here we are with interleague play. American League rules in American League parks, National League rules in National League parks. This is what the Blue Jays have upcoming.
Wasn't very fun down in Atlanta. They got swept down there, and Cito's talked about American League teams going to National League parks and the disadvantage that they have. One of the advantages, 3 of those games are in Washington. Washington just having a brutal season.
You look at some of the opposition you might have in their numbers and maybe a chance to make up some ground here, make some hay, but you know baseball.
Yeah.
You got to play every game as if it's your last. And then wake up the next game and play it again.
Yeah, they get the Phillies a couple of times in interleague. That's no layup. 3 in Philadelphia at the beginning of next week. And then the Phillies come here after the Reds are here, and the Reds are playing some good baseball also. So not that easy.
3-2. Drifted foul.
You know, especially the way that the Blue Jays have played in interleague.
Not very well.
Not very well at all. Here are the numbers to back up the problems that they've had. 12 games under 500.
Why is that, you think? Why is it that this team, you know, the National League has not done well overall against the American League since interleague play began? But the Blue Jays have their trouble with National League teams. In fact, do you know that only 4 National League teams have winning records in interleague play since interleague play began?
One of them is right here tonight.
Yeah, Florida, Atlanta, St. Louis, and the Mets. Everybody else, except for Houston, which is at 500, under 500. Go figure. Maybe it's just a blip. I don't know.
I can't figure it. All those American League teams just pounding those National League teams, except here.
3-2 again. Long at bat for Cody Ross, with Scott Richmond delivering. Cody Ross, who grew up in Texas and New Mexico. If this guy wasn't a baseball player, do you know what he'd be?
I'll say, do you say Texas? Yeah. A rodeo guy.
You're right.
Really?
You are.
That was a total guess.
Yeah, you know
really?
what? He grew up. He was. He wanted to be a rodeo clown, and he was as a kid.
Really?
I kid you not. Got your ESP working tonight. You've been to this rodeo before. 3-2 again. A runner has a head start and got him. Punched him out. Scott Richmond comes out of the bullpen, gets Cody Ross looking. Vernon Wells, Adam Lynn, Scott Rowland. Blue Jays trying to pick up the slack now that Doc's out. splendid night just off of Lake Ontario. A couple blocks up from the lake shore. Rogers Center lid open tonight. Marlins tossing zeros at the Blue Jays, who have not scored in a game and a half, really. Last night in Texas, losing 1-0, coming here overnight. And, of course, the big news tonight, Roy Halladay leaving the game in the top half of the fourth inning after 2 strikes to Jeremy Hermida. We have received word, Pat Tabler, it indeed is a groin injury of some type. They'll give an update at the end of the game tonight, I suppose. And good news, it's not his arm.
It's not his arm, right. But those groin injuries can be very tricky.
As this guy right here and others who have suffered through the years with groin injuries. Here's Vernon Wells again, moving up in the order tonight to the number 3 spot. Taking over from Alex Rios, who was moved down the order tonight to number 6. And the Blue Jays try to get this offense on track. Silence last night in Texas and so far here tonight against Ricky Nolasco. Vernon has, to say the least, been struggling lately. Numbers down.
Hasn't had a problem leading off an inning. Up over 300. But with runners on and runners in scoring position, it's been a tough go for Vernon Wells. Pitchers have really bared down. Sometimes you want something so bad, you try so hard, and your bat slows down a little bit, and you just get frustrated.
Prone to streakiness through the years, though. Yes. Vernon Wells, as cold as he can run, you know he can pick it up. He did it last June.
That's a great point. Probably one of the streakiest hitters I've ever seen.
The 1-2. That's why I'm sure Cito Gaston, you know, knowing Vernon Wells so well, is not as concerned. I'm sure he's concerned with every player who goes through a bit of a funk and a slump. Not probably as concerned with Vernon as he might be Alex Rios. 2-2. He strikes out for the second time here tonight.
You know, and that was a hanger. A hanging breaking ball over the middle of the plate. And it looked like he just pulled his head ever so much. Watch the front shoulder and the front side just a little bit. And when that front side goes, the head follows, and it's tough to keep your head down on that ball. Just missed it.
Adam Lind also struck out back in the first inning. The Blue Jays only 2 hits off of Ricky Nolasco, who tonight is not looking like a guy who most recently was sent down to the minors after a 15-win year last year.
Well, the problem that he has had, when I was talking to some of the Marlins people, is he has been an east-west guy instead of a north-south guy, meaning he goes this way, sideways, when he instead of going towards home plate. You know, in football you talk about he's an east-west runner as opposed to a north-south runner. Same type of thing. He kind of spins on the mound instead of drives towards home plate. That's when he gets into problems, when he starts falling off towards the first base side of the mound. Much better when he has all of his momentum going straight towards home plate. When he does that, his stuff is as good as anybody.
A few times tonight he has not been ahead of a Blue Jay.
You know, when you start falling off like that, your arm kind of falls down underneath you and you start pushing the ball. You can't stay on top of it. That one was a little bit better. You drop that elbow, the ball seems to kind of run up and out of the strike zone.
Lind hammers one deep to right field, but to the track and caught there.
Just got in on him. Just enough fastball from Nolasco to get in on Adam Lind. You see him kind of shaking his head a little bit, saying, I just missed that one. Fastball count. That one in, and you can see just a little bit by the trademark.
Had the view there for a moment thinking it's going, and then ended up in the glove of Jeremy Hermida. 2 away. Scott Rowland to the gap. And once again, Ramirez there. 1-2-3 go the Blue Jays. 4 innings down, and Ricky Nolasco is pitching a 2-hit shutout. To Rogers Center, Flashback Friday tonight as they bring back some Blue Jays of the past. Next Friday, Cliff Johnson will be on hand signing autographs between 5:45, 6:30 near section 117. Well, that's against the Phillies, June 26th. Call 416-341-1234. 1-0 Florida Marlins. And earlier tonight, a former pitcher of the Blue Jays back in the early years, Baylor Moore, on hand, looking like he could pitch right now. Welcome to our booth tonight. Scott Richmond makes the play at first base to get Emilio Bonifacio. 1-0 Marlins here. Welcome back to Toronto.
Thank you. Thank you. It feels very, very good to be here.
How was it to get that nice little ovation? A little bit of a different stadium as well since the last time when you pitched here.
This one's a little further away, but gosh, it's been 30 years, but when you walk on the field, everything rushes back to you. This feels like it was yesterday.
Back to the top of the order.
Tell us what it was like in those first few years, Baylor, when the organization was new, it was growing. What was it like playing here?
Well, it was wonderful, and I'll tell you why. It was like I said earlier on an interview today. Everybody that was here for the Blue Jays wanted to be here. They were minor leaguers and guys that had got drafted in the expansion draft, and you could tell the quality of the organization even back then. You knew they were building. They just needed a few drafts, like the June draft, and they started building from within, from the minor league system. So it was just a matter of time before they were going to accomplish what they did. And we knew we were part of that. Even though we were losing so many games, it was just a matter of time before it came to fruition.
2 strikes against Chris Coughlin. Down the line and foul. Who was your favorite teammate back then? You probably had a few.
I was very close to Bob Baylor because of our outdoor interest. Okay, so every time we could, we'd sneak off and go fishing up north. Okay. And Rick Bassetti was probably one of the friends that I had as far as the position player, because pitchers don't really hang around with other hitters.
Well, you know what those everyday players say about pitchers, don't you?
No, that's not true. I just know that we went fishing up north, and we got into the black flies real bad, and he missed 2 games, and I didn't miss any.
The black flies. Now, I've heard of the black flies.
They're pretty bad up north if you go fishing.
They're worse than you've heard.
Just catch a lot of fish.
I did.
You had a tough time. Huh? So now you're one of also a select number of players who happen to wear both Canadian uniforms. You also played in Montreal.
I did. I was the first draft pick in the June draft for the Montreal Expos. And at the time, they didn't have a minor league system. And so I played 1 year, and then less than a year later, I was in the big leagues with the Expos. Different, though. Different because everybody that was at the Expos at the time were like veteran-type players. And
right up the middle, and base hit for Coghlan.
the team had a completely different complexion then because you had a lot of veteran players that basically did not want to be in Montreal, Canada, playing for the expansion Expos, going to lose 100 games. And so there was a lot of malcontents and groaning and moaning about it compared to the Blue Jays when, like I said, everybody wanted to be here. Just a different team. Even when you go back to the games like this and see the players, you see the players of the Expos of the generation before the Blue Jays. So this is refreshing. I truly, truly like this team. I like the organization.
So you had a chance to see two organizations built from scratch.
I did. I saw the Expos, and then shortly after that is when their minor league system matured, when you had Cromartie and Valentine and Carter and Dawson. Those guys come up, and wow, what a team that was when they came together.
Steve Rogers,
yes. I saw Steve Rogers during his early years when he came right out of Oklahoma, out of college, and he was the real deal. Awesome pitcher from the day he signed. And then, it wasn't that long after I left Toronto that they accomplished what they did. And the California Angels the year I left, and the Milwaukee Brewers in the minor leagues, they came to the playoffs the year I left. So it's always
a little bit of a good luck charm.
That or I was a day late on all of them.
Blue Jays might want you to hang around here a little longer. We're with Baylor Moore, who's here for Flashback Friday here tonight. Signing a few autographs, meeting some old friends, and seeing a park that a little newer than the exhibition stadium where the Blue Jays began. Ross Glode, 1-1.
So I'm sure you followed Pat Gillick from that time when you played here, and he's won everywhere he goes. What are the things that impresses you with Gillick?
Here's what I like about Pat Gillick. Was a baseball player. Pat Gillick knew the game, having worn a uniform. He knew how to evaluate talent, and then he took that up to the top with his decisions as a general manager in building the ball club. Oh, I thought he was going to catch that.
Scott Rowland, I think, lost it.
Yeah.
Lost it in the lights, because that's a guy who was a 7-time Gold Glover, and he doesn't miss those.
Well, it's a time of the day right here where that twilight, where the ball gets up, roof is open, it goes up. If you take your eye off of the ball and then try to find it up in that sky, it's gone.
And I think you're right. This is what he did right here. He looked and then
he looked down, and then it's gone. He throws his hands up. Nothing you can do with that. It's like, okay, where'd it go? I've done that before, and it's hit me right in the shoulder.
I wish it was your shoulder.
Not your noggin, right?
Yeah. 2-2 pitch. Barajas down to second. And it hits Coghlan, will go to third. Aaron Hill trying to retrieve the ball. They were giving Coghlan the wave, but he slipped at third base.
He actually slid into third base. If he could have picked up his third base coach, Bo Porter, a little bit sooner, I think he had a good chance of scoring on that play.
Ball hit him on the way to second base. The throw from Barajas.
Yeah, the head first slide. Did it hit him in the arm or the hand, something like that? Throw took off on Rob Barajas, and it kicks out into short left field. Aaron Hill kind of whiffs on it the first time. You can see Bo Porter, the third base coach, in your picture waving Coghlan in, but he dives into third base, and there's not enough time for him to get up and score.
So now Hanley Ramirez with 2 away. First pitch swinging straight back. What does Baylor Moore do now? What do you do these days?
When I got out of the game, I met a man from London, and he had a steel company. And I worked with him for a couple of years and later worked out an agreement to buy the company from him. So I now own a steel pipe company named Britex, like Britain and Texas. And we actually do business with a local company up here called Capco Tubulars out of Hamilton. And so I go to the pipe yard every day instead of the ball yard.
There you go. So you still have a Canadian connection. Baylor Moore, welcome back to Toronto. Thank you so much for joining us. Nice to see you.
Thank you, both of y'all.
We'll see you around the ballpark.
Yes, sir. You sure will.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Baylor Moore, former Blue Jay, former Expo from the early years. The guy who's been a good luck charm for a few teams down the road. 2 away here, 2 strikes to Hanley Ramirez. Coghlan at third base. Scott Richmond trying to get out of it. The crowd trying to get their team back in it as well as Vernon Wells makes the final out here. Coghlan stranded at third. 1-0 after 4.5 at Rogers Center tonight. See this happen. Roy Halladay, 4th inning. Complains about maybe some tightness in his groin. Rod Barajas comes to talk with him. George Poulos, the trainer, comes out. Cito Gaston as well. He talks with Cito and tells him what's wrong, and he leaves the game, goes to the clubhouse, where we have learned that it is, in fact, a groin injury. That's Dr. Jason Smith. Consultant with the Blue Jays, Ron Taylor. Longtime doctor with the Blue Jays behind J.P. Ricciardi, chatting about Halladay's condition. I'm sure there's a lot of concern right now. Roy Halladay off to his best start ever. 10-1, leaving the ball game tonight. His team trying to pick it up for him. Here's Alex Rios batting in the number 6 hole here tonight. Interesting that he was shuffled down there by Cito Gaston almost a year to the day that he actually did hit number 6.
June 19th of last year. That was John Gibbons' last game. Alex Rios hit 6 in that game. I believe it was in Milwaukee. Next day, Cito Gaston put him at number 3. And that's where he stayed until tonight.
Rios' numbers way down. Again, maybe not so flippantly, I said earlier that, Vernon Wells not to be concerned. I think any manager would be concerned about any player that isn't producing what they should. But Alex Rios has really tinkered a lot and experimented with a number of swings and stances this year. Oh, Ramirez, beautiful snag, hard throw, safe at first is Rios.
Shows you the kind of talent that the shortstop, Hanley Ramirez, has. Ball hit hard by Rios. To his credit, he gets down that line quickly. Good strong throw by Ramirez. But Rios, with those long strides, beats it right there. He's on the bag, and just before the ball reaches Ross Blow.
5 times at least tonight. Close plays at first base for first base umpire Lance Barksdale. Now Lyle Overbay.
Didn't you ask Cito in that scrum before the game about stealing now Rios, hitting lower in the lineup?
He did mention in the little press conference there that, you know, so hard. It was asked of him, you know, maybe that he might let him go a little more now with Overbay behind him now, and says it's so hard, period, to steal at any time just because of the slide step. Because guys know that, you know, Alex Rios, who had a career high in stolen bases last year with 32, everybody knows the bullseye's on him, that he is a guy who will go.
There's a lot of things that pitchers can do to kind of slow down base stealer. They hold the ball a little bit longer. You mentioned the slide step. They can throw over, they can step off, just kind of mess up the timing of you as a runner. Nick Leyva with the signs being flashed over to Alex Rios. Nolasco is pretty quick to home. He doesn't have that high leg kick that you would see with no runners on base.
7 stolen bases for Rios. Ball and 2 strikes. Overbay went around. It's the second time Nolasco got him tonight. 6th strikeout of the night for Ricky Nolasco.
First time he got Lyle Overbay looking. This time a check swing. It's like the Blue Jays are having trouble picking up that slider from Nolasco. You can see how quick Nolasco is to home plate. Barely raises that front leg. Tough to get a read on that if you're the runner.
Blue Jays only 3 hits tonight off of Nolasco. Rod Barajas has 1 of them. It happened back in the 3rd inning. Stranded at second base. Rios going. And maybe could have had third as well as the ball got behind John Baker. He was sliding well into the dirt at second base.
Yeah, that's why you kind of take a quick peek over your left shoulder to get an idea of where the ball is. Straight steal by Rios because he's got his head down and he's going right into second base. But that's a dead ball. Once it leaves the playing field, Rios steals that easily. If you're going to go early in the count. Give your hitter a chance there to see a couple of pitches. One of the things I hated, boy, if you had a guy at first base who could run and 2-1 and all of a sudden he takes off with 2 strikes, your concentration is kind of broken just for a half of a second. Now Barajas can kind of bear down now. He knows he has got some speed out there. He just has to get it to the outfield.
Balls and no strikes. Rod Barajas, former Arizona Diamondback, Texas Ranger. He played in Arizona. Carlos Tosca was on the bench there when the Diamondbacks won that World Series. Carlos Tosca, of course, was a Blue Jay manager a couple of years ago. Back in Toronto. Now the bench coach behind Freddie Gonzalez. There he is.
Good baseball man. Mark Wiley, the pitching coach for the Marlins, sitting right in between Freddie Gonzalez and Carlos Tosca.
Balls and a strike to Barajas. Jammed him. Fouled it away.
When you have so many young players and you know that you're going to use your farm system, you better have good teachers even at the major league level. Because there's a lot of on-the-job training here with these Marlins players because they are so young.
Count even. 2-2, 1 away. Runner in scoring position. Base hit should plate Rios. There he goes. Rios down to third, and another one stolen. And now he can score on a long fly ball.
Now you can see the talent that Rios has. You could tell that he was kind of creeping at second base and he was trying to get the lead. You say, well, what does this do? Now there's 2 outs as Barajas is caught looking on another slider. Well, he can. It puts a lot of pressure on the middle infield. It puts a lot of pressure on the catcher. Joe Inglet can drop a bunt down if he wants. The infield has got to field the ball cleanly or a run is going to score. Ricky Nolasco's saying to himself, I can't bounce one of my breaking balls up there or Rios is going to score. So moving up can pay a lot of dividends, something very simple like that.
Barajas striking out 7 Ks now for Nolasco. Inglet did lay down a bunt back in the 3rd. Got Barajas over to second base. Baker comes out to chat with Nolasco, and they'll have a little mound meeting here.
We were like watching the infield really kind of creeping in at the corners. I think they're thinking about Inglet possibly laying down a bunt also.
Joe Inglet hitting just 118. And hasn't been with the ball club that long now. Called back on May 22nd from Las Vegas.
Did a good job last year driving in big runs in these situations. 2 outs. Seemed like he came up constantly with big base hits to help the team last year.
Last night, the Blue Jays shut out 1-0 in Arlington. 1-0 the score here tonight for the Florida Marlins. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Eventually, this offense is going to get back on track.
That was a good pitch to hit right there. Fastball count, he got one, but he was just a little tardy.
Nolasco is bringing it tonight, though, isn't he?
He's mixing his pitches well, I think. Mixing in a couple of changeup. He's got a good slider.
Climbed the ladder that time.
It's pretty obvious where they want to pitch Joe Inglet. They don't think that he can get around on one of his good fastballs up in the strike zone.
The 2-2. And there it is. This ball game's tied up. Just like that, Joe Inglet cashes Alex Rios.
There's the 2-out hit that the Blue Jays have been missing for a few innings. Joe Inglet comes through again. Did it a lot last year. I think Nolasco wants this ball up, but it's right down Broadway. Soft single in the left field. Picks up the RBI. His first since being recalled.
Top of the order now, Marco Scutaro. Keep Inglet close at first base. Scutaro 1 for 2, a strikeout. Base hit back in the 1st inning.
Not a bad time to take a chance. See if you can get another stolen base. If you get thrown out, Marco Scutaro is leading off next inning. But what you want to do is you want to pick a breaking ball.
They're keeping him close. They're thinking just like you are. Inglet with 10 career Blue Jay steals. For the last couple of years, again, back and forth from the minors. There he goes. There's the throw. He's safe and in scoring position.
Coming into this game, John Baker has only thrown out 17% of the runners attempting to steal on him. Partly his problem, partly the pitcher's problem. Joe Inglet gets a good jump, and he has got his head down also. This is a straight steal and just ahead of the throw from Baker. Not a bad throw. Right on line, but it's up just a little bit, and when Uggla has to reach for the ball, Inglet is able to slide underneath the tag.
In danger here of walking Scutaro. Aaron Hill next. So Nolasco have been cruising along until this inning here tonight. Just 2 hits before the bottom of the 5th from the Blue Jays. And there it goes. Inglet will go to third. Scutaro will walk to first. And up comes Aaron Hill. And that one was way outside.
Mark Wiley's going to go out and try and settle down his young starter. You're right, 3-0. Just trying to throw a fastball and throws it right back to the backstop. Just his second wild pitch of the year. Watch this one. Okay, right down the middle. No, over in the other batter's box. And just like when Rios was on third base, puts a little extra pressure on the infielders with Inglet now standing over there.
Again, the biggest problem for Nolasco lately has really been his confidence, his command, and his swagger, they say. He just didn't have what he had last year, and that comes with getting beaten up a little bit. Bullpen up for the Fish now. His first return from the minors on Sunday. Went 7 innings, 3 runs, 10 assists, 10 hits.
Felt he pitched well enough in that ball game to win, but that's a building block. Marlins lost that game, and things were cruising right along until 2 outs in this inning.
Two away, runners at the corners. The game is tied at 1.
A couple of nights ago in Texas, the Blue Jays had 3 runners thrown out trying to steal. You know what? Big deal. Just keep trying. When you are struggling scoring runs, you've got to do different things if you're not hitting the ball. And they certainly have made things work in this inning. 3 stolen bases now.
Nolasco's had trouble finding the plate in the last couple of batters. Just on the outside corner. Blue Jays score their first run. 14 innings. May not be done here yet in the 5th. Hit hard. Blue Jays now lead 2-1. Right through the hole from Aaron Hill. His 44th RBI of the season.
Boy, and he really turned on a fastball from Nolasco. Early in the game, the Blue Jays are hitting that ball to center field. Now that timing is coming around and they're starting to pull it. Hill very short to the ball. Fastball inner half, and he just rips it right by Bonifacio, the third baseman.
Baker coming out to chat with Nolasco. Leash is getting shorter here on him. The bullpen up. Depending on what Vernon Wells does, Velasco's night might come to a premature end. Wells has struck out twice. 2 on, 2 away, 2-1. Straight back and fouled away. If you're just joining us, Florida scored first in the first off of Roy Halladay, who left in the 4th inning. What appears to be a groin injury. Blue Jays have countered and answered back here in the 5th with 2 runs. Still threatening. Downstairs, 2 balls and a strike.
I think this is the pitch right here. 2-1, no place to put Vernon Wells. He's got to be sitting dead red right here.
He was fouled off.
Still got enough to get him to the top of the strike zone right there. That one was up.
So now the count even at 2-2. They come with a hook. Outside, strike 3. Slider from Ricky Nolasco. Blue Jays on the board, and they now lead 2-1 after 5. NBA Finals will continue on Sunday. Orlando Magic, Los Angeles Lakers. Up with the Lakers last night. And the Fish, Derek Fisher, just swished the three-pointer and sent it to overtime. Lakers won. Lead 3-1 in that series. Top of the 6th inning now. The Blue Jays bouncing back, leading the Florida Marlins 2-1. And Ricky Nolasco talking with Mark Wiley after that last half inning where the Blue Jays were able to finally get to the Marlin right-hander who had dominated the Blue Jays through the first 4 innings. Jorge Cantu, then Jeremy Hermida, Dan Uggla for the Fish here. Straight up in the air. Marco Scudero has it. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays have been busy this week. Draft week. John Lalonde of the Blue Jays scouting department joins us now. How are you, sir?
Doing great. A little bit tired, but otherwise no worse for wear.
I mean, how do you guys do that? I mean, so many rounds, so many players. You've got, I'm sure, Bibles and packets full of every player that you had to draft. What was your overall impression of what your team did with the draft this year?
Well, we're pleased. I think every club is pleased the day after the draft because you got players you targeted, and we're no different. And the fact that we were able to add some pitching, I think, is something that was good. I think the organization could use it, and hopefully the young arms can work their way to the big leagues for us.
Did you have a game plan going in? Did you say, boy, we really need to restock our farm system with pitching, or we need this, or we need that?
I don't think it was so much a plan going in of adding pitching as much it was kind of a recognition of the class itself. And we really felt as a group, as evaluators, that pitching was the depth of the draft. It was a lighter year for position players, particularly at the college level. So we tried to play our board, and we certainly had position players mingled in, but it just seemed like pitching kept falling our way, and it was a good fit for us. I think it was something we could use.
Tell us a little bit about the first couple of picks, the pitchers.
Sure. Chad Jenkins, our first rounder, we're really excited about him. He's a big physical right-hander, about 6'4", 230 pounds. Looks the part. He's got a really good arm, sinks the ball, throws a ton of strikes, power slider up to 87, feel for a changeup. He's unique in the fact that he brings power stuff with a power body, but he also commands the ball. Usually in the draft, you're talking about guys with power stuff but lack command. He kind of brings the whole package to the table for us.
The second round pick, 20 walks or something like that, I saw, looking at some of the numbers.
James Paxton, yeah, he actually, I believe he was third in Division I college baseball in strikeouts per 9 innings as well.
You didn't have to go very far to look at some of these players, either going the Canadian route. You know, in the Blue Jays, through the years, I mean, there have been, Canadians who have played for this team, but as we have seen, there are a lot of Canadian stars out there on other teams.
No, you're right, and as I've told people all throughout the week, it wasn't about drafting Canadians for us. It was about drafting the best players. And it just seems like in the past few years, where the Canadian players have fallen just hasn't meshed with where we've picked. And I think this year, which was a beautiful thing for myself personally being Canadian and as a group, the Canadian players meshed with where we picked. And I think we got the best players who happen to be Canadian, which is exciting.
Here's John Baker. For Dan Ugla flied out to Alex Rios. John Lalonde is the director of scouting for the Toronto Blue Jays. Before we get to all that stuff, I mean, the big news tonight, Roy Halladay. Is everything all right?
You know what? I honestly haven't heard. Obviously, I'm on pins and needles like everyone else, hoping it's nothing serious. But it didn't appear to be serious. But you never want to kind of guess or speculate. So I'm with everyone else, just hoping to hear the news.
Big news, of course, this week for all you scouts. What is it like all year round? I mean, I think a lot of people would probably like to know. I mean, how many players you see, where you go. I mean, it's a never-ending job.
That's what I was wondering, like for one player, Chad Jenkins, how many hours of scouting go into a player to get one pick?
Oh, gosh.
Do you have a guess?
With a first rounder like that, we probably saw him as a group. We probably saw him, if he had 15 starts this spring, we probably saw 13 of them. Be it our area scout, Matt Briggs, or myself, or just different staff members. Then you take into account the off-season visits, scouting him in the summer. An awful lot goes into it. And whenever you're talking about making that kind of a potential investment in a player, you want to make sure you've done the work.
Do you have a feel of when we might see him? I know everybody's different, and they get in the pro ball, and it's different than college. Some guys make the adjustment, some don't. Do you have a feel of when we might see him in Toronto?
Yeah, that's really hard to say. I don't like to put those kind of expectations on a player just because if he fails to live up to them, then everybody looks at it as a failure. So I think Chad Jenkins will tell us when he's ready. And I think if we're able to get him signed quickly, get him out playing, get him doing the right things, he has the ability, I think, to move quickly. But whether or not he does will be determined. Hopefully he stays healthy. He does the right things in terms of his side work, gets with our coaches, gets with the program. And I'm sure he will. He's got great makeup. So
John Alon, thanks so much. I know it's been a busy week. You probably want to get some sleep, too.
Absolutely. Thanks,
congratulations to you and the Blue Jays this week. Draft week. Scott Richmond gets out of it again. They head to the bottom of the 6th. Jays lead 2-1. Well, the Lester's Hot Dog Ace Visor giveaway. This Sunday against the Marlins, 107 first pitch. First 10,000 fans get that beautiful Ace Visor. You can be Ace. 416-341-1234, and it's the giveaway after all those people stay overnight tomorrow night, to sleep overnight tomorrow night here at the Dome.
The boys going to get some of those?
Yeah, well, I got my kids staying over, so I want to alert security. 3 boys under 8, man. I don't know if we'll be able to keep track of them. We have that game in the afternoon, too. Bottom of 6. Blue Jays bouncing back, have a 2-1 lead. Adam Lynn to lead off here. He's batting cleanup tonight in the number 4 spot. Scott Rowland follows, then Alex Rios. And it was Rios who got the party started here tonight. Base hit back in the 5th. Couple of stolen bases. Then scored. Joe Inglet single. Inglet then scored on an Aaron Hill RBI. This is where we're at, 2-1. And again, the big news here tonight, Roy Halladay leaving the game early in the 4th inning with what appears to be, and I say appears to be, a groin pull. The Jays have said they'll know more after the ball game. Ricky Nolasco had only given up 2 hits before the 4th inning when Blue Jays got their hitting shoes on.
Yeah, harmless little infield single by Rios. But with his speed and one-run game, it really could make a difference, and it proved to be true. A couple of stolen bases, and he just trotted home on that little soft single to left field by Inglet.
Blue Jays trying to get to the Marlin bullpen tonight. This Marlin bullpen is one that has been worked a lot this season.
They lead the majors in innings pitched, up over 200 already.
Adam Lynn tonight, a strikeout and a flyout. Lately, he has had his eyes on that baseball. High fly ball. And Cody Ross makes the play in center field, waving off Chris Coghlan.
You know what I like about Adam Lynn is he's so quiet at the plate. Never looks like he's, gets fooled by a pitch.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but we've watched him a lot through the years, and he's a prototype for baseball players learning from their failures. He's been up and down. He's had his slumps, but I don't believe his stance has changed very much. His swing has not changed very much since he came up.
It's a very pretty swing. By quiet, I mean he's very calm. He's very still. hardly any of a step towards the pitcher. Keeps that front side in there, stays very quiet, very still, and then his hands do all the work for him. A lot of times you see guys kind of overstride a little bit, and their front side will collapse on them. They're susceptible to certain pitches, sliders, whatever. But Lynn looked like he could handle just about any pitch thrown.
0 for 2 night for Scott Rowland. Lance Barksdale's been busy cat down there at first base.
He's been very busy.
He's getting a lot of television time.
Slider. You got to have some kind of strong hands to hold up a swing like that.
And a nibble outside. Some of the other interleague games going on tonight. Some compelling matchups. Of course, the Battle of New York, Yankees Mets. Gary Sheffield has hit a home run for the Mets, who lead the Yankees 6-4. Mark Teixeira has his 20th home run of the season. Robinson Cano and Derek Jeter also homering. Ooh, did not get that. You almost signaling strike 3, weren't you? Looked like strike 3.
That's a couple times. Look at Ricky Nolasco, that he thought that he had strikeouts. And if there's one thing that umpires do not like,
they hate that.
Nolasco kind of looking in, and he uses a hand gesture saying, like, where was that pitch?
Let's see what Rowland can do here. Drives it high. Ross treads back. There's out number 2. The Boston Red Sox lead the Philadelphia Phillies in Philly 2-1. Kevin Youkilis, his 11th home run. J.D. Drew, his 9th for the Bo Sox. Minnesota beat the Cubs 7-4 earlier today. Alex Rios. Never know what can trigger a turnaround, a turning point in a bit of a funk. Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
The last inning.
Something as simple as an infield single or a jam shot that just kind of makes it into the outfield. Ricky Nolasco not real happy with the strike zone of home plate umpire Mike Winters tonight.
John Baker coming out to talk with him and calm him down a little bit. Smoke coming out of his ears. Hanley Ramirez too.
Yeah, John Baker trying to calm him down. Couple of fastballs right at the bottom of the strike zone that he doesn't get.
Boy, rolling pitch and this pitch.
That's right at the knee, so it's not low. Maybe it's inside.
2-0 to Rios. That time. Mentioned that Minnesota score today. Watch Sports Center tonight for the highlight. Milton Bradley, low light, pulled a Larry Walker in that game. What a fly ball in the 8th inning. Threw it in the stands.
One problem.
There weren't 3 out.
There weren't 3 out. He had his troubles in right field this afternoon in Wrigley.
2-2 to Rios. Strike 3. So Nolasco gets that call. Rios goes down on strikes. The Blue Jays go 1-2-3 in the 6th as we head to the 7th at Rogers Center.
13 straight innings without scoring a run. And this leadoff infield single by Rios. He beats the throw from Ramirez, and now he's going to use his speed. First to get to second base, and then a couple of pitches later he takes off and steals third. Something that had been missing from the Blue Jays the last couple of days, the big two-out hit. Joe Inglet delivers with a soft single in the left field to plate Rios. And the Jays were not done. After another stolen base by Inglet, Hill rips a ball into left field, and that's where we stand, 2-1 as we head into the seventh inning.
And again, the headline, Roy Halladay leaving the game. Reported groin injury. Again, the Blue Jays will know more after the game and likely tomorrow as well, but certainly concerned when their good doctor is injured, especially after the blazing start. Cody Ross, Emilio Bonifacio, then Chris Coghlan. Scott Richmond's done a nice job here in relief. This is a towering fly ball. Joe Inglet comes in and makes the play.
Yeah, lost in the sauce is the job that Scott Richmond has done. He came in when Halladay left in the fourth inning. Threw one pitch, picked up a strikeout as Ricky Nolasco looks like he might be finished. And he's only given up, Scott Richmond has just one hit.
Bonifacio tonight, couple of groundouts.
Things have not been easy for the Marlins over the last week or so offensively. Now, having to face some former Cy Young Award winners might have something to do with that. Tonight's game is the 5th time in the last 8 games that they faced a Cy Young pitcher.
A week of size. Bonifacio has done a lot of that. Leads the majors in bunt singles, but not this time.
Twice against Scott Richmond, he's tried to drag that ball by him, and twice he's bunted it right back to the mound.
Former Washington National, came over in November. Brandon League and Jesse Carlson warming for the Blue Jays. Trying to protect this lead. 2 away here in the 7th inning. And mention all those Cy Young Award winners. The Marlins have actually done pretty well against them.
They faced Chris Carpenter and Randy Johnson.
Tim Lincecum, Barry Zito. The only loss came against Zito. And tonight against Roy Halladay, they only got 3 innings from Roy Halladay, so it hasn't been that bad really for the Marlins as they try to increase their record, get closer to 500. Top of the order, Chris Coghlan's had a great night. Double, a pair of singles, and a stolen base. Run scored. 2-1 pitch. Six hits for the Marlins, 5 hits for the Blue Jays. 2 runs to 1. If he would have straightened that one out, long gone. Big Karam.
Well, he's looking comfortable at the plate. He got it all started with that bloop double his first time up. Really got him into a good groove. He singled his next time up, singled his last time up, a stolen base, and he was stranded at third.
And a 4-for-4 night for Chris Coghlan. That brings up Ross Glode. 1 for 3 on the night. First baseman for the Marlins, and Cito Gaston is going to go to his bullpen. Got some efficient hold duty from Scott Richmond tonight. Came in relief of the dock. Did a nice job. Jesse Carlson comes in to face Ross Glode in a moment. Marlins and Jays again. Again, we have it on TSN. Come down to Rogers Center early to participate in the Junior Jays Passport Program. Collect 3 stamps, receive a miniature Adam Lind bobblehead. Kids 14 and under only, and then run the bases after the game. Junior Jays Saturday tomorrow. Here's Ross Glode. 1 for 3 yesterday. 2 home runs for the Fish against the St. Louis Cardinals. They lost the game yesterday. His first multi-home run game. Man on first, Chris Coghlan, and 2 away. 1-run game, and Scott Richmond had to do the job for the Blue Jays. He did, and he gives away to Jesse Carlson.
He's been good in these situations. Left-handed pitcher on a left-handed batter. One of the problems that he has had is he has not been able to get that breaking ball over consistently like he did last year for strikes. Blue Jays are trying to get him to get that ball out in front so he's got that good downward movement on that slider. It's been a little bit flat his last couple of times out, and he's been hit pretty hard.
Well, a base hit here. Going to third base is Coghlan. Runners at the corners now. 2 for 4 night now for Glode. Little looper into right field. Cito Gaston looking at Hanley Ramirez, and he'll once again go to his bullpen. Jesse Carlson just faces Glode, gives up a base hit. So the flamethrower, Brandon League, will come in to face Ramirez. 1-run ball game. This week, Bethpage Black, the site of the U.S. Open. Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson makes his return as well. Mike Weir, Stephen Ames. Mickelson coming back, and there's a guy on the Florida Marlins who knows Phil Mickelson very well, Cody Ross. Once batted against Phil Mickelson when Mickelson, remember that little tryout he had with the Toledo Mud Hens? Cody Ross faced Mickelson.
Mickelson was a pitcher?
Tried out and
really
didn't do very well, but this is a lifelong dream. Runners at the corners, Hanley Ramirez, Brandon League in. 2 outs. Blue Jays trying to get out of this.
Great numbers for Brandon Lee. He has been a go-to guy for Cito Gaston late in the ballgame, bridging that gap to Scott Downs, who's taken over as the closer. He's been throwing hard, and he's had a great splitter.
This will tie the ball game. Looped into right field. Marlins with a little dink and dunk here in this 7th inning. Not hitting the ball particularly hard, but it works. We're all square at 2. Ramirez with an RBI.
That's how they scored the first run. On a ball very similar to that hit right there by Hanley Ramirez. League with a fastball all up and in, and it jams Ramirez, but he's strong enough to just kind of muscle the ball out into no man's land into right field. Blue Jays might have caught a break right here with Ross Glode staying at second base. With 2 outs, he's running with the crack of the bat. That ball is going away from Aaron Hill, but he elects to stay at second.
Jorge Cantu, 95-mile-an-hour fastball for a ball. First pitch from League. And we have seen from home plate umpire Mike Winters, as we saw with Ricky Nolasco, he is not giving that strike. Load at second, Ramirez at first. Marlins now threaten. Cantu goes fishing. Scott Richmond comes out of the bullpen. Plays Hold'em for Roy Halladay. Left the ball game after 3 innings and a couple pitches. 2-1. Bottom of the order due up for the Blue Jays in the bottom half of the 7th. Lyle Overbay will lead off, then Rod Barajas and Joe Inglet. Cito has some options on his bench tonight as well. Here's the 2-2 with 2 away, and he got him. Struck him out. However, the Marlins have tied the ball game. Stretch time at Rogers Center. 2-2. League strikes out Cantu. Florida Marlins visiting for the first time in 8 years. Interleague play beginning. Ricky Nolasco, nice job. 2 runs over 6 innings. He's now out of the ballgame.
Yeah, season high in strikeouts with 9. It took him 110 pitches to get through 6 innings. He will give way now to the only left-hander in the bullpen for the Marlins. Dan Meyer takes over. Good numbers for him. Opponents hitting 161. Lefties 195. He's got a cutter, a little bit of a fastball, and he'll throw a changeup. Look at the good numbers for Meyer. Freddie Gonzalez playing his hand here in this tie game now in the 7th inning.
Lyle Overbay, one of the red-hot lefties for Cecil Gaston. Adam Lynn moves up in the order today. Cleanup spot. Overbay batting 7th behind Alex Rios, who moves down to 6th. And a little dribbler down to first base. Out number 1. Rod Barajas with Joe Inglet on deck here in the bottom half of the 7th. One for 2 night for Rod. Struck out at the hands of Nolasco. And a base hit.
Nice smooth delivery by Dan Meyer, former first-round draft pick of the Atlanta Braves. He was in that Tim Hudson trade. Went over to Oakland. Oakland let him go, and the Marlins might have found something when they claimed him off waivers back in November. They put him in the bullpen. He's done a great job for him.
Again, this is a bullpen that has been taxed, but also successful. A lot of strikeouts. They lead the majors in innings pitched. Straight up and back. Baker gets an eye on it. Has it. About a month away from Major League Baseball's Midsummer Classic, the All-Star Game in St. Louis. You can vote for your favorite Blue Jays. Fans are allowed to vote a maximum of 25 times with their email address. Vote early, vote often at BlueJays.com. I still kind of miss the ballots. Like, you know, you get it in your seat in the ball.
Right. Well, they still have that.
They still have that, too.
Okay.
No, they have that, too. But it just seems like you could load it up. Some cities can. Big cities. Seems to be a bit of a popularity contest at times. And there's a lot riding on an All-Star game, as we know.
Yeah. Who gets to host the World Series?
Joe Inglet now, the number 9 hitter, with 2 away. We talked about Roy Halladay being almost a natural starter for the All-Star game a month away, and Blue Jays are hoping now that that groin pull or groin injury isn't as serious as it possibly could be. And Inglet goes down on strikes. 3 pitches from Meyer. 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. 7 innings down here at Rogers Center tonight. Game 1 of this series. Inglet goes swinging. Head to the 8th. 2-2. We head to the 8th inning. NHL entry draft coming up. John Tavares, Victor Hedman, Matt Duchene. Tavares likely number 1 Friday, June 26th from Montreal on TSN. Jeremy Hermida faced Brandon League. By the way, the Pittsburgh Penguins leading the Detroit Red Wings 2-0 late in the second period. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. Hermida, Dan Uggla, John Baker against League. One for 2 for Hermida tonight. Uggla 0 for 3. 0 for 2 for Baker. Fly ball. Vernon Wells has to go back to the track. He's watching it against the wall off the top of his glove. And Hermida goes to second base. Almost. An amazing catch by Vernon Wells.
Yeah, you know, the outfielders are playing deep. A tie game in the 8th inning. Vernon Wells got an excellent jump on that ball. I thought it just kept carrying off the bat of Hermida. Fastball, he turns it around in the left center field. Now the ball's going to be kind of slicing a little bit on Wells. He gets back, and it's oh so close, right off of his glove. 7th double of the season for Hermida. Good start by the Marlins, and that's the way this game is. I mean, every little break tonight seems to be going against the Blue Jays. A couple of bloop hits, and this one right off the glove of Vernon Wells.
Dan Uggla. And that fastball for Brandon League in the mid-90s as usual here tonight. Just to make sure it's got some movement. Uggla's got some pop. Strike zone seems to be wavering. Mike Winters tonight. Blue Jays will take that one. Ball on his strike.
The leadoff double, you got to think that Uggla is going to try and advance him somehow, but that's not his game. Dan Uggla has opened up that shirt and swing hard. A 1-strike swing tells you that he's not thinking about moving that runner.
1-2 in the dirt. Hermida not going anywhere. Talked about the All-Star game. Dan Uggla had an All-Star game to forget last year. Poor guy. 3 errors in the All-Star game. Fine talent, though. Fine second baseman.
Look how strong he is from his forearms down.
Looks like a fullback.
He does.
Not your prototypical second baseman. 2 in the dirt again.
There's some talk about maybe moving Dan Uggla in the next few weeks. Salary up over $5 million a year. We touched on it earlier today about the Marlins and their small payroll. Maybe there's a team out there that needs a slugging second baseman.
32 home runs last year, 11 this year. He is a slugging second baseman. 3-2 pitch and walked him. Brings up the catcher, John Baker. Cito on the phone again.
Well, you'll see the wheels turning now. Everybody in the infield coming in with Brandon League. Are they going to bunt? And if they are, what player are they going to put on? Dirk Hayhurst getting ready quickly down in that bullpen.
Cody Ross on deck. 2 on, nobody out. Whoa, man.
Did that hit him?
Looks like it did. Baker's wondering, man, I've been hit a lot lately. That he'll go down to first. Guy who just got nailed by Albert Pujols a couple days ago now takes one. It looks like maybe off the knee.
Wow. You can listen on this replay. Listen to this.
Oh, man. Already got a shiner from Pujols, and now he's going to have a big bruise from Brandon League. Base is now full.
That Pujols bat was a backswing. Clipped him right on the side of the head. You can see it right there. The eye's starting to get a little black. Squares around and gets down low, and that ball is on him before he can move.
Feels like an ultimate fighter this week.
That is taking one for the club right there to get those runners moved up.
Yeah, here's Cody Ross now. Bases full. Marlins had the bases full back in the third inning, too. Nothing came across, though. Boy, Halladay got out of that. That was with 2 outs. No one out.
Brandon League, though, has the stuff to get out of it. Infield's going to come in, cut down everything at the plate. He's got that splitter. He's got that good moving fastball that he can get the ball on the ground or come up with a big strikeout.
Love a strikeout here, and maybe a double play ball after that. Bonifacio's next, though, and you know he can lay down the bunt. Two-two game. Fly ball. Vernon Wells will watch this, and it is gone. A grand slam home run from Cody Ross. Wow.
On an 0-2 pitch, no less. League doesn't give up a lot of home runs because he throws so hard and he's got a good movement on that fastball. But this one, right down the middle, looked like it was a splitter. Sped the bat up. 9 home runs now for Ross. He just clears the bases.
Still nobody out. And League way inside of Bonifacio, but go back through it. The double by Hermida. Vernon Wells couldn't gather that in. Walk to Ugla, then hitting John Baker. And Cody Ross an 0-2 grand slam home run. 6-2 Marlins. Suddenly the game broken open here in the 8th. Rodeo guy.
Got some pop in that bat. To dead central.
There's out number 1. Cody Ross used to that stuff. 3rd grand slam for him this season.
A little bit of a problem in yesterday's game down in Miami, playing center field. A ball got underneath him for an error that kind of cost him the game.
Made amends today, a day later. This guy's only 4 for 4 tonight, Chris Coghlan. This night has not gone well for the Blue Jays. Only 1 good inning, the 5th. Took the lead for a short time to the 7th. Beyond the score, Roy Halladay leaving the game. Groin injury. And then Brandon League giving up the grand salami here.
He doesn't give up many home runs. I like my chances with him. Nobody out, bases loaded because of his stuff. That ball's fouled off. Just the 2nd home run he's given up this year. That's called taking advantage of a bad pitch, a mistake.
Coghlan goes down on strikes. 2 away. Glode will come to the plate. Blue Jays will have the top of the order when they come to the plate in the bottom of the 8th. Two for 4 night for Glode. Brandon League is trying to stop it right here.
That's it. Stay right down at the lower part of that strike zone and you'll be fine.
This Marlin team through the years and all the interleague play through the years has had the Blue Jays number. Well, they got to play comeback again here. 1-2. Night began with Halladay, then Scott Richmond, and Jesse Carlson. Now League.
He's been good for him. 17 of his 22 outings have been scoreless. Cito has shown more confidence in him. He said he's basically the guy he wants in there in the 8th inning because he throws hard. Just having his troubles here tonight.
And another base hit, this one to the corner. He'll go to second base. Slides in for a double. Glode 3 for 5 tonight. And that will be it for Mr. League. The Marlins of the National League taking it to Brandon League here in the 8th. And one bad pitch for sure. Grand slam home run. Cody Ross has broken this open. 6-2 Marlins. We'll be back after the pitching change. Jeremy Hermida started it off, and the walk to Ugla. John Baker getting pegged on the knee. Bases full and no one out. And a major mistake to Cody Ross, and he made him pay for it. And now Dirk Hayhurst comes in with 2 away, still in the 8th, and Blue Jays trying to leave it at 6-2.
Hayhurst looked good his last time out in Texas. Had a very quick inning. 1, 2, 3. Just his third game since being called up from Las Vegas.
Load rounds to third. Here's the throw to Barajas, and he'll score. And it's 7-2. Hanley Ramirez with another RBI here tonight. He's got a 3-for-5 night going. 3 RBIs.
He takes second base on the throw home. Marlins look nice and relaxed at the plate. Found the holes early in the game, and now they're pouring it on with 5 runs this inning, 1 last inning. 13 base hits now.
And the 9th hitter to come to the plate in this 8th inning, Jorge Cantu. Marlins trying to inch their way back in the National League East. And gets away from Barajas. And out of play. And Ramirez moves down to third base. It is all unraveled here for the Blue Jays in this inning. Wind has been sucked right out of their lineup. Two-0 pitch. Fouled out of play. Again, we're on tomorrow as well. Don't forget that Sean West will go against Casey Janssen tomorrow, and we'll know more about the condition of Roy Halladay by then. Right now, that is the big question mark over this Blue Jay team.
If it is the groin area, I'm sure at some point Doc will go, as that ball's on the ground, to Scudero. Another run will score. Doc will have some kind of MRI, and we'll know a little bit more tomorrow. Hanley Ramirez comes up with a big hit. It's now 7-2. Not be reproduced or transmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game will not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership.
As we head to the bottom of the 8th now in the Blue Jays, and what had been a real pitcher's duel for a while. First Roy Halladay, then Scott Richmond together. Ricky Nolasco, this game hardly a hit through it, and then all of a sudden the doors fly wide open for the Florida Marlins in the 8th inning, and they now lead 7-2.
Took just one big swing. from Cody Ross, the grand slam to center field. They go to the bullpen again. Kiko Calero comes out. The right-hander, the veteran, has had good numbers again this year for the Marlins. One of the things you're going to get from Kiko Calero is a lot of sliders. That's where he gets a lot of those strikeouts, 39 of them this year. So expect the breaking ball.
Top of the order, Marco Scutaro, Aaron Hill, and Vernon Wells. Scutaro 1 for 2 with a walk. For those of you tuning in to Friday Night Fights, it's been switched over to the Deuce, TSN 2. So Friday Night Fights over on TSN 2 right now. Normally, a Roy Halladay start would have meant that we would have been already enjoying a beverage somewhere. But Roy Halladay again leaving the ball game after 3 1/3. Actually 3 innings and just a couple pitches.
Yeah, usually his starts mean the bullpen gets a night off also, the way he had been cranking out complete games this year.
Two balls and a strike. 3 balls and a strike now. So Marco Scutaro trying to get on, maybe trying to get something going. Jays down 5, station to station time for the Jays. They want to rally back. Fly ball out to left field. And Jeremy Hermida has moved over to left field. Chris Coghlan leaving the game, and Brett Carroll moving into right field. Aaron Hill, 1 for 3 and an RBI. The Blue Jays come home after what I would think would be deemed a pretty successful little road trip to Texas, going in against the powerful Rangers and their record. And
the first place Rangers.
Yeah, a 4-game set. Now one of those games was washed out, but taking the first 2 and then a close one last night. Had to be pretty happy with the way things went. Aaron Hill gets the head on the ball and drives one into left field.
Yeah, especially with the Rangers knowing that no Roy Halladay down in Texas. They were probably thinking 3 out of 4. Blue Jays go down there and almost swept them. And probably feeling pretty high coming home. Hey, that's okay. We lost that one. We've got Doc tonight. Playing the Marlins, who are scuffling a little bit.
Boy, how things change in a hurry. Complexion certainly surrounding Roy Halladay. Vernon Wells, then Adam Lind. 1 away here in the 8th. This game very close up until that last half inning. First pitch. Here comes the man of the night for the Marlins, who was not the man of the night last night. And that goes to show you how baseball can change.
If you're a Blue Jay fan or you play for the Jays, that's, I think, the attitude. If it stays like this and this game ends the way it is right now,
get back on the horse tomorrow.
Short memory.
Yeah.
Short memory, because you got to get ready for a 1 o'clock game. Right back at it tomorrow.
And this is where, maybe Cito and then company start thinking, you come in, you have Roy Halladay coming in tonight, you're a little sleepy. Your body clock's off because of coming from Texas and getting in early in the morning, yada, yada, yada. Now you got to still a little sleepy tomorrow. So it's going to be a tough one tomorrow again for the Blue Jays, but you're right. You have to have a short memory.
Yeah, short memory. And we'll probably see some changes from Cito Gaston. He's day game after night game. He usually moves guys around, so see if that'll help tomorrow.
Now Adam Lind. 0 for 3 with 2 away in the 8th.
You know, it doesn't get any easier when the Marlins have that ability to throw some of those good young pitchers that we'll see the next couple of days here.
You've been around this marathon season after season. You know, peaks and valleys. You have to manage the valleys and
forget about your at-bat sometime. Forget about the game. You play enough baseball and there's going to be things like this happen.
Don't get too high when you're up high, and be prepared that, you know, reality does kick in.
The key is to be ready tomorrow. You know, again, if it stays like that, be ready tomorrow. So if it comes to a point where you need a big base hit or you need to make a big pitch, you are ready for it. If you're not, that's when it really starts to snowball.
Down to first base again. And that's out number 3 as we head to the 9th with the Florida Marlins leading the Toronto Blue Jays 7-2. Brought to you by Rogers, Canada's fastest mobile network. 3 times faster than any other. Visit rogers.com/fastest. Same guy who led off the last inning. Florida Marlins batted around in the 8th. Dirk Hayhurst still going for the Blue Jays. Jeremy Hermida, who started it off with a double. Ground ball to Aaron Hill. We're in the 9th inning. 5-run Fish 8th inning has propelled them to a 7-2 lead. $17,992 here, a sparse crowd here tonight. Expecting some big crowds over the weekend. Dan Uggla. Walked back in the 8th.
This guy might be the most dangerous 219 hitter in baseball. 40 driven in. He's made the most of his 46 hits.
Again, interleague play beginning today. And Minnesota beating Chicago 7-4. Games going on tonight. How about the Mets at Yankee Stadium? 7-7 now. The bottom of the 7th.
Any homers?
Oh, well, what do you think? It's in new Yankee Stadium.
Got to be a few there.
Can you believe the way that ball jumps out of that ballpark? And could you believe the designers? I'm sure the Yankees want some sort of rebate from
I saw a story the other day, and I don't know if it's true or not. I can't wait to get to Yankee Stadium to find out that the measurements are a little bit off.
Really?
Than what the Yankees thought.
Hot straight up.
Home run in a phone booth right there, straight up into the infield.
Well, they've talked also about the wind that's coming off the river, and the fact that the concourse is now wide open. I believe a little bit about that too. The jet stream. Do you see that home run that Jeter hit to opposite field the other day? That I'm sure in Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, would have been knocked down, but
he hit it off the end of the bat.
Just was flying. Anyway, Jeter's got one tonight. Speaking of home runs, they're in that game. Sheffield has a home run. Teixeira has a home run. Cano has a home run. Jeter has a home run, and Matsui with home runs.
All right, that's just the Yankees. Anybody from the Mets?
No, well, Sheffield got it from the Mets, but the Yankees. They won't mind it so much if they're getting the majority of the home runs, but that ball jumps there.
I saw the home run a couple of weeks ago for Mark Teixeira, where he actually shattered his bat in half.
Yeah.
And it went out in left field.
John Baker. He's going to need his own personal masseuse and trainer soon. Got one in the eye this week off a Pujols bat. Follow through. It knocked his mask off. He was wearing one of those old style masks. He's got the hockey helmet mask. You can see the bandage, and then took one off the kneecap in his last at bat. Taking one for the team was right, though. It led to that grand slam. And down on strikes goes John Baker. A 1-2-3 ninth. We head to the bottom of the ninth. The Blue Jays are down 5 runs to the visiting Florida Marlins. (7-2) Marlins in the 5 spot in the 8th inning, punctuated by a grand slam from Cody Ross, his 3rd grand slam of the season for the Florida Marlins. And now the Blue Jays down to their last at bat.
And the Marlins go to the bullpen for the 3rd time. This is Christian Martinez. Every team has got that guy who kind of ping-pongs back and forth from AAA to the big leagues, down to the minor leagues, up and back, up and back. Martinez was recalled from AA Jacksonville just a week ago. And this is his 3rd stint with the Marlins since May the 21st. He's got a good arm, fastball. His 2nd best pitch is a changeup. He also throw a slider. There is tonight's star of the game, I think, for the Marlins. Played great center field, and he's got the one big hit for him. Bases clearing home run in the 8th inning.
Scott Rowland. Blue Jays trying to pull off a huge comeback here. Not an easy task, particularly with what they've had to try to do this season.
Yeah, they 0-25 when trailing after 8 innings.
You never know. That's why you go out there and play all night.
That's one of the things that the Jays have really done this year. They have made you earn all 27 outs in a ball game. You know, that never say die type of attitude.
Previous incarnations of this team over the last few years, you lost like this might have gutted the team, particularly with Roy Halladay leaving the lineup the way he did. But we'll get a good indication of what this team is made up in 2009 and in June tomorrow afternoon, I believe.
Yeah, when they probably find out the extent of the injury to Roy and coming back after this game. Casey Janssen on the hill tomorrow afternoon.
There's a base hit for Roland. First of the night, 1 for 4. Well, a comeback has to start somewhere. Maybe here.
His modest hit streak going now at 4 games. That's who we will see tomorrow. Big Sean West, all 6'8" of him. Good ERA against Casey Janssen, coming off a season high 6 strikeouts. His effort against the Texas Rangers. We'll have all the action starting at 1 o'clock.
See a few more right-handed bats in that lineup tomorrow, likely. Alex Rios. 2 stolen bases tonight, a run scored, a base hit. Three balls and no strikes. Now 3-1. The Blue Jays would like to make that Marlin dugout a little nervous tonight.
There is some stirring in the bullpen now for the Marlins. A base hit, a 3-0 count.
Rios rips one to left field. Roland will scamper to third. Rios goes to second.
That's a good sign when Rios starts to get to that high inside fastball and it's hit on a line. Watch his shoulder stay very straight on that one. Doesn't drop that backside, and he drives through that ball instead of up and over. One hops the wall, and it's an easy stand-up double for Rios.
Baby steps. 2 for 4 night for Alex Rios. Again, has been struggling. Trying to regain that touch, that stroke he once had, and kind of wonder, you know, you experiment with so many different things after a while. Maybe it is just a case, and you've been through it like so many major leaguers, just get out there, see the ball, hit the ball.
Yeah, you know, if you can make it as simple as possible, the fewer thoughts you want to have between the ears when you step into that batter's box, the better. Sometimes it's as simple as just see it and hit it.
There's a guy who's been seeing it well lately, Lyle Overbay, in the month of June. Nobody out. 2 on. Jays down 5. Overbay struck out twice tonight when Ricky Nolasco was on the hill. You know, we had John Lalonde up a little earlier, Pat, talking about the Blue Jays this week, and it's amazing what you can find. And not only, you know, some people say blue chip prospects come from the first round. Look at a guy like Lyle Overbay, 18th round.
18th round.
You know, and the career he forged.
A lot of times when you're drafting guys, of course you're looking at talent. I think you got to look at the makeup also. Ball off the plate. You look at makeup, and does the guy have the smarts to figure it out? Michael Young was talking about that the other day during the draft, or after the draft, that these guys are drafted on talent, but it's the makeup, figuring out how to get to the big leagues.
And as hot as you can run, sometimes you can get cold in a hurry too. 3 strikeouts for Lyle Overbay at the dish tonight. 0 for 4, 1 away now, and Rod Barajas. Much better sequence by Martinez that time.
Yeah, you were talking about making things a little nervous for the Marlins. Well, they got their closer up in the pen. Matt Lindstrom has just started getting loose. A couple more guys get on, and it will become a safe situation.
He's got some nuclear stuff. Get it up there. Mid 90s, high 90s. Hear that glove snapping out there, and those are only warm-up pitches.
Try hitting it.
Yeah. Blue Jays trying to make it interesting here. Opening night of a 3-game set. The Marlins, Monday's an off day. Trying to make this bullpen work a little bit here tonight. Two-one pitch. Back goes Rios. And Ramirez makes the play. A run does score.
Give an RBI to Rob Barajas. Alex Rios caught in no man's land. The Marlins at this stage with a 5-run lead are just going to give him third base. I don't know if he was trying to distract Hanley Ramirez, the shortstop.
Looked a little bit like he did, because a kind of curious decision here.
Yeah, he's got it easily. Like, should I stand in front of it and try and distract him, and maybe he'll miss it? And then he was stuck out into no man's land.
2 away now in the 9th. Deficit now 4. Joe Inglet laid down a sacrifice bunt earlier. An RBI single and scored a run tonight. But an hour and a half ago, this game was a lot closer. 1 bad inning, 1 bad pitch. Brandon League did himself no favors. You know, like 1 pitch could have been a solo home run, but double to Ramita and the walk to Ugla, and Baker squaring around and hitting him with the knee.
Double could have been caught. I mean, not that it should have, but it could have. I mean, it just went off of his glove. It would have been a sensational play if he did. Then the walk, and you're right, that hit by a pitch. You don't see that a lot when a guy squares to give himself up and then he gets hit in his knee.
He gave himself up big time. 3-1 pitch now. And this should do it. Ramirez calls for it. That's it. A 5-run 8th inning. The hero tonight for the Florida Marlins, Cody Ross. Mr. Grand Slam this year for the Fish. They take the opener of this 3-game